G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the west side of the map, playing in the colour teal, it's Crackety here. And on the southeast side of the map, playing in the colour orange, it's Wham, aka Opa. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a China Mirror. This is a China Mirror on, of all the maps, Hill and Dale, which is a map that we don't really see a whole lot, but it's been making a bit of a resurgence at the moment. Looking at the opening build orders here, we can see that Wham is going with a mill quite far away from the main town center, whereas we do have Crackety going with one very, very close. But where are his villages? What are these? Oh my! What is going on right now? Did you guys see that? All of the villagers were collecting. They decided to go all the way out to food. Oh, geez Louise. Now, I think the big question for me is, how do people play China Mirrors at the top level? Because in my mind, I know how they're played at the top level, but I don't know if that's actually how they're played at the top level. So before we get into the rest of this game, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our Patreon, and then we'll get back into it. Are you keen to get better at Age of Empires 4? Are you interested in watching someone else get coached or getting some one-on-one coaching for yourself? If so, check out the Patreon, where you can find dozens of coaching videos where I personally guide players through the process of improvement, with new videos being added every single week. With coaching for all skill levels and for all civilizations, there's something for everyone. Now, when it comes to my credentials, while I might not be the Red Bull Wallalol champion, I'm still a pretty decent skill level, sitting at the Conqueror 3 ranking for 1v1. So if you are interested in some coaching, make sure you check out the Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description. Now let's get back to the action. Alright, so I think that playing Age of Empires 4 as the Chinese, your main focus is on big economies. And one of the strategies that's been zooming up the ladder recently has been the Chokunu timing push. Now, one of the things to remember that if you play into the Chokunu timing push with that strategy, that you can actually beat that quite easily as China. And there's a very simple trick. Basically, what you're going to be doing is making a second town center and then just doing the exact same thing. So it basically means that in a Chinese mirror, if you go for a Chukunu timing attack, it's doomed to fail. And both players know that. So if both players know that, then they're both probably going to be avoiding that. So if you can go for a second town center without being punished, then your enemy's going to go for a second town center without being punished. Now, the question is, do we dare see a third town center coming out without being punished? And the answer to that question should be no. So 2TC Song Dynasty is the optimal playstyle for China. And you might be wondering, well, hold on, Drongo, that doesn't make sense because in Abbasid mirrors, they go for 2 TCs and then they add in the third one and they both do that. So shouldn't they do that with China? Well, not only do you have the Song Dynasty helping you produce extra villages, but with China, the timings that you want to hit are orientated around the Castle Age. You really want to make sure that you've got a presence out on the field. You want to be contesting relics up against your enemy because you've got access to pagodas that are very, very good at the moment. Ever since relics got nerfed, pagodas have actually been quite good, and the reason why is because pagodas still provide the full 100 gold a minute, whereas relics only provide 80 gold a minute. So you can actually kind of boost up the eco on those that you would typically normally get. So they're quite strong. But my suspicion is what we're going to be seeing here is 2 TC fast castles coming out from both of these players. So it's going to be 2 TC Song Dynasty fast castles coming out of both of these players. And then when we talk about the transition period, what kind of units are these guys going to be going for? Now, I would be going in this matchup if this was me. I've been loving it to pieces. I've been going for crossbow and knights. I've been doing a lot of crossbow knight lately. I've been really enjoying it. It gives you a lot of flexibility in the event that your enemy looks to try and get out some nest of bees, where you're going to have your own astronomical clock tower that you can look to fight them on. But going knights first is really important in this matchup because it's going to allow you to contest your relics. It's going to be really important to try and get a monk out on the map as quickly as you can. But we do already see some difference in the build orders coming through. Looks like Crackety a little bit slower than where he'd like to be, but it's going to be the Anomi build order for him. We can see him going up with 3 villages on the landmark. Compare that over to the other side, where we've got Wham, who is not doing the Anomi build order. Instead, just going for kind of like your more stock standard Chinese Song Dynasty. So his timings, he might be a little bit quicker, but his second town center, I'd love to see the difference between them, but I would suspect that Crackety's going to have a much faster second town center, and this can add up over the course of a game, because if you're always up 2 or 3 villages over your enemy, then you're always going to have just a little bit more resources to spend at all points of the game. We do see the Barbican now coming down, 4 vills coming forward to drop down the Barbican. So he's looking for a decent timing here. Probably going to be just shy of about 515, so not a bad timing there for Song Dynasty. He's going to start looking to move down to stone shortly, I suspect. We'll take a look over at the base of Crackety and see how he's doing, as he's got the second Imperial official out now, gathering up the gold. We can see right there. Nice little job, 40 gold coming in. Now going to be moving over to the lumber camp. We're going to be picking up his tax from the mill. There we go. Absolutely good stuff. Now needs to be supervising the lumber camp down here. Not doing it right now. And there's 3 vills moving out for the Barbican, and of course the transition over to stone should be happening. Where are these vills going? Oh, he's going for the forward stone? This is curious. Why not just go for this stone here? It's so far away. Does he not realize? I'm curious, because this is going to massively delay his town center. You think about the walk distance here. This is probably a 5 to 6 second walk distance. This is probably closer to 12 to 13, and you got to walk the other way as well, remember. So big difference in timings right there. So expect to see his town center about 20 to 30 seconds slower than it should be. But we'll tune back in over on the other side of the map, and we'll see now how Wham is doing. Wham looking to add in his second. Of course, the dynasties come through. Nice early time for him, as you would expect. And his villager count is going to start to build up a little bit higher than Crackety in the short term. But remember, Crackety should have that town center coming up sooner than him. But I will just note, just with the all the walking time that he's got down there, that it might not be the case. We can see now that everything is sort of going to plan, as you would expect in this matchup. We've got the Song Dynasties, we've got the 2 town centers. So the next question that we're going to have is whether, these are nice little houses, aren't they? They're cute little houses. Is whether we're going to have those fast castles coming through. I think you would be absolutely crazy not to go for a fast castle, just because then your enemy's going to have access to knights, and knights against spearmen, well, it's never a fun time when it's feudal spearmen against castle age knights. Let's just say that much. But second TC already coming down now for Crackety, coming down at the front of the base as well, right behind the Barbican. So a nice little safe position here. And it looks like Wham is starting to be a bit annoying. He is, he's sitting around that deer hunt, and that's what he loves to do. He loves to spread these deer out, kill them in awkward little spots, and we can watch him now as he might look to do that. But we can see deer carcass getting killed right next to the town center. Not what he wants to do, so didn't shift click the vills, and as a result, that deer carcass not going to be supervised at all. All right, we're back on the other side. We do see that town center comes up now for Wham, so not a bad timing here, but definitely not the fastest timing in the world. You can get these about 40 seconds faster. I'll say that much. 40, 50 seconds faster. Definitely possible. So we do start to see upgrades coming through now. So double broadaxe coming through for Wham. Over on for Crackety, it looks like he's picked up survival techniques. I'm definitely a big fan of survival techniques. At the moment, we can see quite a lot of wood being gathered up by Wham, but I think my question is like, why? Why do we see wood being gathered here? Especially if you know your enemy's gone for 2 TC Song. Like, you can be kind of safe, or not safe, but rather you can be kind of greedy. You know that you're going to be safe at the moment. So you can look for all those big upgrades that you want. You can look to try and get up to the castle age. I think you can do that quite safely. We take a look over on the other side, and at the moment, Crackety doing everything right. He's got plenty of villagers here on food. He's supervising them all up. We can see there's 10 villagers here, and then he's got another 12 villagers out over here. So doing it perfectly. Probably needs a few more villagers on food, if I'm being honest. And heading up to quite a lot of villagers on gold. And that's why we've got all that wood being gathered up. So it seems like Wham maybe a little bit just fearful of an early aggressive attack, doesn't want to have to deal with it, and we see a granary. That's where it's gone, into a granary. Now, to me, this is a head scratcher, right? Because it all comes down to tempo. Once you 2 TC Song Castle or Song Dynasty into a castle age, your big play is tempo, right? Like, you want to get up there as quickly as you can, and you want to start the action straight away. But going for this, it's like, it's going to delay you. And of course, it's a good thing, right? Like, you want to be getting onto your granaries as soon as you can. But by the same token, you kind of want to avoid getting into it too quickly. We've still got, you've got 1,500 food here in the form of berries that are all going to get buffed up by the Imperial official. So that's another 1,800 food there. You probably got berries that are locked in behind somewhere else. Ooh, not the best berry spawn, right at the front. Compare that to this berry spawn, which is a beautifully safe berry spawn. So maybe that's what he's considered, and he's just said, you know what, I just don't want to risk it. Let's start on the farms early. In which case, that makes sense. And we do see all the upgrades now starting to come through. Wheelbarrow. We also see double broadaxe, horticulture coming in. And we also see Imperial examinations coming through as well for Wham. So definitely the right choice. I love the economic focus that these players are looking at the moment. It's definitely a nice addition. But the age up's going to be coming through shortly. Crackety at the moment sitting on 300 gold. compared to the Akold. And look at Crackety. I think we might have a castle drop coming in. That's 11 villagers moving over to stone at this point in the game. Now, this is getting scouted out by Wham. He knows exactly what is happening here. The scout is keeping track of everything, so he'd be able to see, okay, that's a lot of vills moving onto stone. He is going to keep drop me. But where do you keep drop, and why do you keep drop? I think you keep drop the Barbican, right? And then you look to push through that. But it always feels kind of weird keep dropping the Chinese, because the Chinese already have the tools that they need to deal with the keep drop, right? They make an astronomical clock tower. That's their landmark. They've got the siege workshop ready. They don't have to build it. Let's start again. They don't have to gather the wood for it. They don't have to build it. And then they have to queue the trebuchet. Everyone's got to queue the trebuchet. But the astronomical clock tower is already there. Age up's now coming through for both of these players. Astronomical clock tower, going to be both of them. 14 villagers for Crackety, 12 villagers for Opa, aka Wham. So about standard, what you'd expect, and the age up's coming through, 10-20. Not the fastest age ups, but still not terrible. Villager count at the moment, 68 for Crackety, 65 for his opponent. And now we begin I guess you could say, the fun part of this game. The first 10 minutes has just everybody been minding their own business. You know, we're in a China mirror on Hill and Dale. This is the first chapter of minding your own business. But we do see now the monastery supervising up, and he's got the monastery in the back. You know what I love to do? I love to put the monastery in the front right there. I just throw it down in the front and then make a second one in the back. This is where, because like you look at the walk time that he's going to have with the monk. Compare that out over to his opponent. Do we have it coming down yet? It doesn't even look like we've got a monastery coming down for Wham just yet. So it looks like, and he's going to be moving into, is he going Palace Guard crossbow? Interesting. Palace Guard crossbow. So my suspicion is that Crackety should do pretty well here if he's going knight crossbow. At the moment, he's only gone for a single horseman, and he's just pumping out. You can see he's pumping out the monks at the moment. Up to 4 monks early on in this game. And just looking to pick up all of the relics. There's no presence out on the map at the moment for Wham. So these relics look like they're going to be uncontested. So already a good little lead that we've got here. And now a central keep coming down. So this keep, once again, this keep is not really achieving much other than just kind of saying you shall not pass. But it doesn't mean that you shall not raid. And interesting to note, we don't actually have any walls that have come up yet. And this could actually really hurt. This could really hurt Crackety. The fact that he hasn't got these walls up, because now all of a sudden, it's going to mean that your economy is exposed. And the enemy doesn't care about the Barbican. They really don't care. Villager moving away is just going to come back. He's going to get one shot, though, when he does it. Didn't bring enough villagers out here for it. He thought he could get away with it with just 10 villagers, but at the moment, it looks doubtful that this is going to go up. Keep trying its best. Villagers, he looks like he's just committing at this point. The consequence is he's going to lose out on these, but what does this keep achieve? I mean, realistically, it's nice to have it, but what does it actually do? He's taking out plenty of vills here. Only 4 villagers remain. Doesn't look like any additional vills got pulled here. But once that keep is up, you know, all that Wham does right now, he goes, oh, well, that sucks. I guess I'll make a trebuchet. And as soon as he makes the trebuchet, he just sits it here, parks it nice and safe, and starts working on the keep. And now Crackety's got to be like, well, I've got to either repair the keep or I have to deal with the trebuchet. And ideally, you don't want to do either of those things. So yeah, it really hurts. But he's done a really good job picking up relics. We can see the 5th one is about to come through for him now. I say 5th one, that is actually going to be the 4th one. The 5th one is down here in the corner. We've got a nice little combo. Palace Guards as well as the crossbows beginning to move out. And the relics for Opa are just going to be non-existent. So we can see the delay that's come through here. Now, the question that I've got to ask is that, is Opa going to be able to make up the difference right now that we've got? Because from the way I'm looking at this, okay, and can I just say that there really needs to be palisades out on the extremities of these positions. I appreciate you going for stone walls, but if these get through, you know that your enemy's got these units out. If this gets through into your base, you're going to have real trouble. But my question is, right, you've got Crackety, who is a China main. He loves China. And can I just clarify? I'm not saying China man when I say that. I'm saying China main. Because I did see there was a post on Reddit where somebody said that I say China man. I'm not saying China man. I'm saying China main. It means like his main civilization is China. My main civilization, it's China. So that's what I'm saying there. But essentially, Crackety is very specialized in this civilization. He knows what it does. He knows all the ins, all the outs. Whereas Wham, you would obviously say that Wham is a more skilled player because Wham made it to Red Bull Wallalol. You know, that is the difference, right? So can Wham's skill level be enough to make up the difference here? Because obviously, like, Crackety has come into this game and he knows what he wants to do. He's very clearly already gone about achieving that. We can see. Hold on a minute. Where one relic? Where did he get? How did you pick up? How did you get this relic? We had 4 relics over on the other side. I have no idea how Wham managed to get that relic. There were 4 relics, and this was the 5th relic that was getting picked up. He must have picked up a monk or something. If Wham somehow manages to get the 5 relics, or to get the 2nd relic, he's going to be in a great spot. So this is part of the reason why I love going crossbow and knight into this matchup. The knights can deal very effectively with the crossbowmen, and of course the crossbow do very effectively against the palace guards. Wallalol might come off here. He's trying his best to get it away. Not gonna find too much luck there. Keep in the center of the map. He's gonna be going down as we suspected, as we alluded to. Second treb also coming out. No doubt about that one. Nice little cleanup here for Crackety, but once again, you know, Crackety lost a lot of villagers by putting this keep down in the middle of the map, when realistically, all he could have done is just walled off the front of his base. Just use palisades. I appreciate that he wants to go for these stone walls, but just go for the palisades. That's all you need at the moment. You can get the stone walls later on in the game. Nice stone walls coming down on this side now. Keep in the middle of the map, about to go down. And as China, you want to be making these keeps, right? Because the thing is, you're going to need to deal with the Barbican anyway, right? So having trebuchets is really, really good. So you've just given your opponent the excuse to begin making those trebuchets. So now we've reached this point in the game where Wham has kind of established himself. He's managed to pick up 1 relic compared to the 4 of Crackety. And honestly, that, in my mind, is already a victory for him, considering how far he was behind. So he definitely misplayed the opening, I would say. But he's managed to, you know, to snag 1 relic away. Not terrible. And the question is, where does he go from here? Because he's got a really good siege composition. There's not a lot that right now that Crackety can do to push him. And we can see that the answer is going to be that he's going to Imperial. This is an interesting position because he's got the keep up. So he knows that he's not going to die from the front. When it comes to these southern positions, he's going to have access to stone, where he can stonewall in his sides if he really needs to. So he's not under any real imminent threat. And because of that, he wants to go Imperial. He thinks he can do it. I think my question is, what does he do once he gets there? Obviously, Imperial, you unlock upgrades, you unlock new units. We do see the Spirit Way is now coming down with 39 villagers. Let's see if we can find it. It's down here. He's still making the archery ranges around the Spirit Way. You can see how long it's been since Wham has played China. He wants to go either Grenadiers or Chukunu. So this is what you used to do. You used to put your archery ranges around your Spirit Way, and the Spirit Way would reduce the cost of the dynasty units. But Wham hasn't played China in some time, at least late game China in some time. Yeah, it's different. We do see the 3rd age wood upgrade coming through. Crosscut saw, nice and cheap, only 750 resources now. So players are opting to pick up these upgrades more often. We do see we've also got acid distillation coming through for him. But where does he go with regard to units? As I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of Crossbow Knight. I think Crossbow Knight's one of the best combos that you can do as China. Part of the reason why Crossbow Knight is my favorite comp is because typically in these games, China's got a really big economy. And so what it allows you to do is use or invest more resources into the population space you have left. You might have 130 pop in economic units and only 70 pop you can use for military. So if you make Spearmen and Chukunu, you're going to have a bad time because your units are so cheap. But if you go and make really expensive units like the Knight, then all of a sudden the value of your army, it's much greater. We can see a little bit of a Palace Guard raid coming in on the south side. I'll expect we're going to have Crackety going up shortly. On the front side, we do see that there is just going to be a huge amount of Palace Guards getting ready to come out. Archery Rangers on the backside. He's making hand cannoneers. So going straight into the hand cannoneers. Stone wall does come down here as well. Absolutely no way that this is going to go badly for Wham. Beautiful job there, managing to get the villagers out in time. And secures up that position. As I mentioned, like there's no threat here, right? Like he's just going to be making stone walls and he keeps himself safe. So very, very nice job from him by doing that. A little bit of a push coming out makes me a little bit concerned, but we do have pyrotechnics coming in for Wham. So watch out, pyrotechnics. So pyrotechnics got changed. You guys will remember we just talked about this change down here with the Spirit Way. Another change that happened was pyrotechnics. So pyrotechnics used to increase the range of all of your gunpowder units. So that was your grenadier, that was your nest of bees, that was your bombard, and that was your hand cannoneer. There were some other units like the Bauschwan it also affected. But they basically changed it so that now your hand cannoneer just gets extra range. So it goes from 4 range up to 5.5 range, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But now we're entering this stage of the late game where Wham has built up a pretty decent villager lead. He's on, I say built up, but it's not really that he's built up a villager lead. It's just that Crackety isn't making villagers, or at least it seems like he's stopped making villagers. We can see right now the town center is idle. The first one is working, but the second one's not. But now a little bit of an attack going to be coming through. Nesta B is going to be able to fire off. We did see that Roller Shutter Triggers is about to come through for Crackety here. And now the push comes down the hill. Elite Palace Guard's going to be going up against those hand cannoneers on the backside, and beautiful little push coming in from the bottom side. The flank comes in, and Crackety surrounding his enemy completely with the Palace Guards at the same time. Nesta Bees, and look at this, a little bit of a Springwood Kiss. It's been a while since I've seen you around these parts, Springwood Kiss. But unfortunately, the numbers looking very solid, and take a look at this. It's that extra range coming through from the hand cannoneers. He is slicing through those Palace Guards, just completely destroying them. And now at the same time, that push is really starting to come to shove. We talked earlier about that keep. What does that keep do? That keep just gives your enemy motivation to make trebuchets. And now they can start taking out your entire base with them. The Barbican goes down. And now Crackety, he's going to be scrambling to get units out. Needs to start supervising units. Look at the production on the backside. It's non-existent. Where is Crackety's production? Compare that over to Wham. He was putting down 9 barracks in his base. And now we can see the timing that's come out. All of this has gone straight into his timing attack. He's gone quite literally fast Imperial into these super long range units. Chinese fast Imperial is here. I love the fact that he went for the extra the archery ranges around the Spirit Way. It just really seals the deal. But I guess going back to that question that we had earlier, is the skill difference from Wham going to be enough to make up for the civilization specialty that Crackety's got? And at the moment, it definitely seems to be the case. His push is very solid, and it's hard right now to hold on. In this position, it's very hard for Crackety to hold on because this keep is going up faster than he can deal with it. We can see he's actually bringing more villagers forward in this position. Looking to drop down that keep. It'll be going up shortly. And once that keep goes up, it's pretty much good game. There's no real comeback from this keep because this is where the trebs come park. And once the trebs come park here, they start working down your production, one building at a time. You can see right there, Wham's going for another keep. It's a optimistic keep. I don't know exactly how that one's going to work for you, but yeah, unfortunately doesn't go quite well. But now that push really starting to come in. Look at that. Look at those numbers. Hand cannoneers, the extra range hand cannoneers, the pyrotechnic hand cannoneers working their magic through the base. Now a second keep going to get dropped down for Crackety, or rather for Wham. And he is really sealing this game. Finally, a bombard going to be coming out. The big boys in town. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. Trebuchet on the backside trying to take down this keep, but he cancels it. He cancels it and goes a little bit closer. He really wants to get it in there, deep-like. But look at the numbers. The numbers are just too great at this point. He can't make up the difference. And good game gets called. Wham victorious in this ladder game. Fellas, I hope you've enjoyed this casted game. Make sure you check out Crackety. Make sure you check out Wham. I'll leave links in the description to where you can catch them. And I guess we saw right there how to play China when it comes to the high level, when it comes to the ranked games. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.